Hello. This is different kind of video. Yuppie. I'm talking here. Yeah. Different kind of video, which is about the truth of what's going on. I'm sick and tired. I am sick and tired of coming across channels who claim to be pro-Russian or pro-Ukrainian or pro-American or pro-German or pro-NATO or pro-Chinese, but they don't know what they're talking about. Just people talking, claiming to be someone they are not. Sick and tired of this bullshit. Yes, I'm talking about pro-Russian channels on YouTube and other places, or pro-Ukrainian or pro or against whatever. The lie is so big that I can't live with this lie anymore, okay? And so I want to explain some things to you, okay? If you don't mind. So listen to me. Let's start with pro-Russian channels, YouTube channels. I see a lot of pro-Russian channels, which are made by some guy, English guy, American guy, German guy, the pro-Russian channels, okay, on YouTube. And so the Russians are always winning and everything. I'm not going to talk about if the Russians are winning or losing. You can do your investigation and your research. And is Russia going to win this war? Of course it will. Of course it will. Just by the numbers. Do you know mathematics? No. 1 + 1 = 2. Think about that. So of course Russia is going to do what Russia is going to do, and they will win. But that's not the point. The point is, I hate propaganda. I hate propaganda. Either be pro-Russian or against Russia. I hate that kind of shit. I think people should stick to the truth. In this case, there's a war to the truth of the numbers, of the terrain, of the fighting, of lost number, everything. And so I see these channels with these mostly British guys who love Russia. Suddenly, I didn't hear about them like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. 1 or 2, not 100 like now, okay? Suddenly they popped up out of the forest. I'm pro-Russian. Now they have access to all kinds of information and they're very wise about the military operations. They don't know anything. And they claim to be former Marines. No. If you claim, if you're a journalist, and if you are like pro-Russian, and you say, oh, the Russians are winning now, why don't you show? Show your credentials. Don't just say, oh, I'm an ex-Marine. And there's plenty of them out there. I hate this shit. If you are going to report about a war situation, report, but don't claim that you are someone you are not. But if you are that person, you have to show evidence, not just pop up in the internet like, hey, I'm an ex-Marine and ex-former Green Beret, and I know about these things. No, you don't. You're lying. you're pro-Russian, you're giving the Russian propaganda. Because in a war, doesn't matter if it's Russia, Ukraine, China, America, South Africa, Peru, Canada, France, Germany, Antarctica, it doesn't matter. When there's a war, every country, puts their own propaganda forward. So I don't care. But if you're going to claim that you are who you are and you know what's going on, you have to prove it. You cannot just be a face on the internet and say, hey, I'm a former Marine, so I know what I'm talking about. You don't know anything. You're a liar. And now you may think, oh, maybe Dante is lying too. No, no, I'm not lying. If you want to check me out on the NATO number, my number was 080 180 B. 080 180 B. Yes, that was involved in many things, especially in Africa. But I'll talk about Africa later on the video. But if you want to check it out, here, my number again, 080 180 B. 080 180 B. Yes. Chit chat, not enough. Hmm? But before we move on, let me tell you something about my experience in the Special Forces. In the mid 1980s, I joined the Special Forces first in Portugal, because I've told you before, my father was Italian, my mother Portuguese, and I had double citizenship. Why? Oh, it's a long story. I've explained before, I'm not going to explain again. So I joined the Special Forces in Portugal as paratrooper Special Forces, and that was real hard. It's not like Special Forces these days with the ladies walking, jumping around with the boobs going up and down. No, no, no. To give you an example, like the second day we were there, we had this boxing thing. We had to go around the square where we box. And one of the things we did, we had to go through was this boxing champion with a glove, and he had a piece of wood glued to his glove, huge piece of wood, this thick, like 2 inches. And when the ring, the boxing ring, there's 4 corners. There was 4 guys in every corner, and every time, and we had to run around the boxing ring for about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes or so, and from one corner of the boxing ring to the next, like 3 seconds, and they will hit us with that glove with a piece of wood on the chest. Ladies would not survive that. No. No. But that was the Special Forces at the time. And this is just a tiny bit. I could tell you horrible stories from the training, just from the training. But, then when, Europe went to NATO standards, that means that was all gone. So there's no Special Forces in Europe right now. There's special treatment, but no Special Forces. Because men can handle with a lot of pain and crying and blood, but they can handle being hit on the chest with this piece of wood this thick. Women cannot. They'll destroy the ladies' boobs. But when Europe decided to join the NATO standards, well, that means that right there. It's just a meaning, a little thing that was gone. Because when I joined the special forces, women were only allowed to be like nurses and stuff. And that's how it should be. Once Europe joined the NATO standards, then the ladies could be special forces. But the training was messed up. Because even though the ladies required to be treated the same way, but not being hit with pieces of wood on the breasts. No, 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 no. That's not fair. That can be changed. That has to be changed. Many things were changed, and so the standards of training, NATO standards. I don't even know what the NATO standards are right now. But yeah, you have no idea what special forces were and meant, even in America or anywhere else, were in the 1980s, mid-1980s, and are now. Because of this, I don't know, woke, whatever you want to call it. But this started a long time ago. When the special forces decided to accept the ladies into the special forces, immediately the standards had to go down. Because, no lady is going to accept to be hit on the chest 100 times in 10 minutes because her breasts are going to be bleeding and maybe she's going to die. But with men, yeah, we have to go through that, including, being kicked on the balls. Are you the ladies ready to be kicked on your vagina? Like 100 times in 10 minutes? I don't think so. Why don't you let war to the man? I think it's better. You claim a lot. We are equal. No, we are not equal. We are not equal. Men and women are not equal. We are equal spiritually, but not physically. That's why back in the days, you stayed in the cave while men were hunting bears to bring food to the cave. But now you think you're equal. If you think you're equal, how come our standards of training in the special forces, for example, have to come down to appease your standards? Who have died throughout these hundreds, thousands of years? Men, not women. Who fought to have the, let's say, the Western lifestyle that we have right now? Men, not women. Of course, women suffered and children, but who died the most? Who fought the most? Men, not women. Let's talk about my experience with the special forces. I've shown you 3 diplomas: Portuguese, Italian, and Belgium. Actually, I served in 5 countries. 5. One more was Canada, in Somalia, which eventually our group was disbanded. And there's a 5th one, but that I'm not going to tell you. I have my own reasons, because I'm still under a contract. But I served the special forces, airborne special forces in Portugal, Italy, Belgium, and Canada. And that 5th one, I cannot tell you right now. That I'm still under a contract, even though I'm not serving, but I'm still getting paid. So I cannot talk about it. But give me 2 years. Anyway, what were we doing in the mid 1980s? So this is 35 years ago. 35 years ago. How old are you? And remember that 35 years ago, there was no internet or anything. You didn't know anything. You read the newspapers, whatever you read on newspapers, it's what you accepted. There was no other means of finding the truth. There's no internet, there's no YouTube, there's nothing. This is the mid 1980s. There wasn't even CDs, or they were just starting to pop up. I don't even know. I'm 55, I don't remember. But this was the 1980, 1985, 1986. What did I do at the time? As a member of the Special Forces in Europe, in Portugal, in Italy, and in Belgium. Canada came later. And the other country that I'm not allowed yet to tell you because I'm under a contract still, I'm getting paid, I cannot tell you. But in the mid 1980s, I served in Africa. Wars. Well, 3 wars, 1 was not. For example, I served in Angola. It's an African country. We were there to teach the Angolan army and the police, by the way, ways of defending themselves and attacking themselves, all kinds of stuff. Because there was a civil war going on in Angola. And so we were teaching the government forces because we were paid by Portugal, Italy, the NATO countries to teach the government forces to fight. A guy called Jonas Savimbi. Jonas Savimbi. He was the leader of the opposition, the rebel group, if you want to call it. And so we were teaching there. It was peaceful for a while, and then it stopped being peaceful. One day, because there was always civil war, then peacetime, then war, then peacetime. Those peace things that they had between each other, between the government and the opposition, it lasted a few months, 6 months, and then the war started again. Nobody was taking these treaties of peace seriously. So I was there in Angola, mid 80s, teaching the government, the Angola government, pretty much how to do war in an infantry kind of way. One day, the Jonas Savimbi's, the opposition army, tried to invade the capital, Luanda, called Luanda. And even though we were there just to train people, we had to fight them. That was a mess. One of the biggest mess I've seen. We fought them, we defeated them, or at least we didn't defeat them, but we kept them away from the capital, Luanda. And then we were told to leave because we were there under NATO orders or United Nations. Same thing. United Nations, NATO, America, it's all the same thing. And we told, get away. It took us 3 days to cover 3 kilometers from the hotel where we were to the airport. And there was a lot of fighting. So that's one thing. Another time that I was involved in ballistic, in a war situation was in Mozambique, which is down south, a former Portuguese colony, Mozambique. by South Africa. And we were there also again because we belonged to NATO. At the time, I was serving as a Portuguese Special Forces paratrooper, and we were there to make this. There was this a dam called Caborabassa, big dam. It was the biggest dam in Africa, and we were there just to keep the dam intact because the rebels wanted to destroy the dam because downstream there was some government Mozambican factories which built like cannons, tanks, all kind of stuff, military stuff. So the opposition in Mozambique wanted to destroy the dam so they could flood those factories that were making guns and bullets and all tanks on it. So if they would destroy the dam, they would destroy the factories. So we were there to protect the dam. The dam was not Mozambican. The dam was Portuguese. I don't know if it still is or not, but at the time it was. This is the mid-1980s. And so we had to protect them. That's why we were sent there. First thing we did was to cut trees all over, like 2 miles all around the dam, because it was a forest. We could not see the enemy coming 100 feet from us, 30 meters from us, we could not see the enemy. So the first thing we did was cut off all the trees, big radius, so that we can see them coming. And we did that. And the funny thing was that once we did that, in the morning, when the sun rises, we only saw children coming, not adults. Not Mozambican rebel adults, generals, sergeants, soldiers, no, just children. They will send the children in the morning. And once we noticed that, and they would shoot at us, and the first, second day would shoot at them, because we didn't know. They would stay behind the trees, behind the wooded area. So we didn't know if it was children or adults or demons. We didn't know. But I don't know, maybe third, fourth day, I don't remember, it was a long time ago. We noticed that the people shooting at us were children, not adults. So we made a deal. And we only had 2 platoons, about 60, between 60 and 70 guys there. And I was in charge of both platoons at the time. I think this was 1987 or something, 1988, something like that. And I didn't want to shoot at children. They were, children, soldier children. They didn't want to be there. They should be in school. So, and because in Mozambique they speak Portuguese, and I speak Portuguese. So I left a note and a bunch of chocolate bars, Mars bars, all kinds of chocolate bars and candy. And I left. And I wrote that there one morning. I said, don't shoot at us. Shoot at the air, at the clouds. And we will shoot at the clouds. We will pretend we're shooting at each other because they're children. The adults were telling them, go by the dam and shoot at the guys at the dam, at us. But they were children. So I wrote on paper and said, shh. We leave food here. Chocolate, chips, sausages. You get here in the morning, because the adults, they'll stay like 2-3 kilometers away. They send the children. I said, shh. Shoot at the air. We'll shoot at the air, pretending we're shooting at each other, and then you have your food, your breakfast. Come back the next day. So we did that for a long time, like 3 weeks, until Not them, but ours, NATO guys. Portuguese, Italians, Americans, French, find out what I had decided to do. They were not happy because they wanted me to shoot at the children and kill the children and then go beyond the children and attack the adults. Well, for me to attack, make a decision, and I only had 2 platoons. To get to the adults, I had to kill the children, and I refused. So I spent some time in military jail because I refused to follow those orders to kill the children. Because my boss is up, said, no. If they have a gun and they're shooting at you, you have to kill them. And you move on. And say, but they're children. I'm not going to do that. Like, you have to, and the bosses, Americans, and the Italians, and all kinds of, the guys, Belgium, Canadians, or the bosses said, for you to get, to kill the adults that are 2-3 kilometers behind over there, you have to kill the children. So kill the children and then attack the adults. So they said, no, I will not. So I spent some time in military jail. Not a big problem. That was in Mozambique. Then I also served in Somalia and Rwanda. And in Rwanda, that was the worst. Because we could not do anything. When I was in Rwanda, and I spent a year and a half there, half belonging to the Portuguese Special Forces, the other half as Italian, because I had double citizenships. I go back and forth, and they used me, and I was okay with it. That was the worst, because there was a ethnic cleansing. So, and we were not allowed to interfere. Not allowed. Our orders were just to try to keep the peace, meaning we're doing anything. We weren't doing anything. So we would go in our trucks in Rwanda in the middle of the day, lunchtime, and you would see, husbands killing their wives and children with katanas, these knives, big knives, cutting off their heads, putting their heads, sticking their heads on the stick on the side of the road, because it was an ethnic war, and we could not do anything. And we went through that, seeing that for months, and we could not do anything. Even though there was this guy killing his own wife and children with a katana, hacking at them, cutting them hands and then the arms and then the head, and then we could not do anything. There was NATO orders we could not touch. A few months later, someone in our bosses asked, okay, we cannot touch them. But this is after we saw thousands upon thousands of people being hacked, killed, right in front of our eyes, right meters away from us. We could not do it. Then they said, okay, can we at least do some defensive to protect the civilians? And NATO said, okay, you can, if they shoot at you. But they were not shooting at us. They knew. They're not stupid. Guys in Rwanda, the Hutus and everything. So they didn't shoot at us. It's like a law that protects them from us. So it was idiotic. So nothing changed. The law changed, but in practicality, nothing changed. Anyway, till one day, I was fed up with what we were seeing, because it's not only seeing, it gives you nightmares. If you're a normal human being, it gives you nightmares. So one day I said to my platoon, I think I had two platoons and the support platoon with mortars, 80 millimeter mortars and 120 millimeter mortars. And one day I woke up in a bad mood, like I do quite often, and I said, no, today, that's it. If I see this shit, we're gonna kill them. We're gonna shoot at them. Sure thing. We were on the road in a patrol, 10 minutes. Saw these guys killing their wives and killing neighbors and killing anything. It was an ethnic war. So I said, stop. And we killed all these motherfuckers. They got me in jail. Military jail. Which is, it's alright. It's not like hard time. It's military jail. But yeah. So, and our commander was this Canadian guy called, what's his name, Romeo Dallaire. He was the guy in charge of all of us. And we have people from all kinds of countries there. There's Portuguese, Italians, there's South Africans, Americans, Canadians, French, Italians, all kinds of, for United Nations. Anyway, and this, but the guy, the boss, was this Canadian guy called Romeo Dallaire or something like that. He was such a pussy. We, soldiers and sergeants and officers, we had to help him spiritually to survive another day because he was so weak. He was always crying and complaining. Meanwhile, we were doing the dirty job, and we had to supply psychological support to our leader, this Romeo Dallaire. Anyway, when all that in Rwanda was over and we were out of there, the guy became alcoholic, tried to kill himself a bunch of times. This is a weak man. Weak man. He was not the kind of man who was supposed to be in charge of a military operation of that level in that situation. He was a weak man, very weak man. He was not. But I think he's still alive. He tried to kill himself a few times. But just to give you an idea, the kind of things I went through. And I'm not even talking to you about Somalia. That was also bad. Not as bad as Rwanda, but it was also bad. But it's for you to have an idea, the kind of things I went through in my life, so that you understand where I am now and why I am here and I'm not going anywhere. Because so far, to me, this is kids play. Kids play. It's gonna get worse, but I'm ready. Cheers. If you say you are, prove it. Being a face on the internet, everybody knows that. Maybe it's true, maybe it's just a liar. You have to prove it. Prove it. Being a face on the internet, everybody knows that. Maybe it's true, maybe it's just a liar. You have to prove it. Prove it. This is what I hate about what's going on with the war right now. And I hate both sides, the pro-Russian and the pro-Ukrainians. Don't think that I'm just like, oh, I hate the pro-Ukrainians and I love the pro-Russians. No, I hate both sides. I hate propaganda. I want people to know the truth. And so when I see people claiming to be someone, I was in the special forces, I was a Marine, but they don't show any evidence. They're just some bald guy saying, I am who I am. Nobody knows. You can only get, trust upon evidence. Or so should be. So should be. Should be like that. But it's not. Because most of the people, the monkeys, the billions of monkeys out there, they just believe. If they, for example, taking in this aspect of this war right now, the monkeys, which is most of the people, they go pro-Russian or pro-Ukrainian, and they don't care about evidence. They don't even ask about evidence. They just follow without thinking, asking for evidence or anything. If they're pro-Russian, any guy comes up on the internet, on YouTube, oh, the Russians killed 1,000 Ukrainians today, and they believe it. If you're pro-Ukrainian, the other way around. Oh, we killed 1,000 Russians today, and they believe it. You don't even think about it. You don't ask for evidence or anything. They just accept. These monkeys on the internet, some of them have 200,000, some of them have 200,000 subscribers, or 50,000 subscribers, or 500,000, or 1,000,000 subscribers, and just believe. No evidence necessary. They just believe. Just believe. Why? Because they're monkeys. You get the banana of that you like, the Ukrainian banana, or the Russian banana, or the Chinese banana, or the American banana, or whatever. Just accept. I hate this. I hate it. It's not that, like, I don't believe some of the people that are pro-Russians or pro-Ukrainians. It's not that I don't believe on their information. It's just I hate that people accept their information without evidence. Without evidence. It's just some guy or girl that got in front of a laptop and said, hey, today 100 Russian soldiers died. Or today 100 Ukrainian guys died. And people just believe, depending on their political preferences. No evidence necessary. And some of those people, like I said, on these YouTube videos, YouTube channels, oh, I'm a former this, I'm a former that. They never show you any evidence. They just say it, but because they have so many subscribers, people think that, they accept that because they're so popular, they have so many subscribers, it's true. Why? Dare them to show evidence. Because I know many people, not many, but between 20 and 30 channels on YouTube, some pro-Russian, some pro-Ukrainian, and they claim to be something they are not. They never shot a gun, not a bullet in their lifetime, but they claim to be former this, former that, but they don't. They're not. But people still believe just because they have a big amount of subscribers. Whoa, must be true. Because if 100,000 people believed him before I joined this channel, must be true. No. A lot of these people, pro-Russian and pro-Ukrainian, or pro-Chinese, or pro-American, or pro-German, or pro-alien, they never had a gun in their hands, they never killed anybody, they never been in war, they never killed anybody, or been in a position to be, well, it's between you and me. Never. Why do you just accept someone's word without evidence. Why? I'm going to tell you right now. 90% of the channels out there, pro-Russian, pro-Ukrainian, pro-whatever, pro-any country, it's a bunch of lies. It's propaganda. These are guys that, finish high school 5 years ago or college 7 years ago, and now they got access to a laptop and a camera, and they say whatever they want. And they claim to be like military experts. They never saw action. Most of them never had a gun on their hands. But they're here, changing the public opinion, either be pro-Russian or pro-Ukrainian or pro-Chinese or pro-alien. Doesn't matter. Think. Don't accept what people say just because they have this quality to talk, this ability to say words. The ability to say words is not enough. You have to show evidence. Okay? Otherwise, you're just a mute turtle. Slow and deaf and blind. So, think about that. If people don't show evidence, then just like you talking about something you don't understand in front of a mirror. Just you talking to yourself in front of a mirror and accepting that what you're saying to yourself is the truth, even though you've never been there. Like you talking about, what's the political situation in Madagascar? Madagascar is an island off the coast of Mozambique, by the way. What do you know about the political situation there? How many political parties exist there? Who's the prime minister or the president of Madagascar? You don't know. You have no idea. But given the opportunity, you do a 5-minute research on Google and suddenly you come on YouTube and you give your 5 cents. Like, oh, Madagascar, that's a disaster. You have no idea what's going on. That's what's happening right now with pro-Russian, pro-Ukrainian, pro-whatever happening. Especially right now between pro-Russian and pro-Ukrainian. Everybody is an expert. Even though 99% of these people that are giving, are commenting and giving advice, what's going on the field, what's going to happen next week, they don't know. They don't even know how to cock a gun, or to lubrify a gun, or to take apart a gun and then put it together with the eyes covered. No, they don't know. It's all a disaster. Disgusting. Everybody these days can claim whatever they want without evidence. Why? Because people accept the truth without evidence. As long as they're popular. If they have 100,000 subscribers, must be true. Because so many people believe. No. No. Stop following incognito sources. Follow people who show you evidence. Not only me. There's more out there. If people cannot show you evidence of who they are, of what they've done, what are you doing with your life? Are you blind? Following a blind man or woman? Be smart. If you're going to follow someone, I do follow some people, but it took a few years for me to trust them because they showed evidence of who they were. Hmm? Documents. And not only documents, stories that could be corroborated with sources that we could check on. So, okay, yeah, he was there. He was there. And on and on and on. Anybody can say words. Don't follow words, follow evidence. Okay? Have a good weekend. Well, and by the way, just one last thing. It's just because of the photo I've shown, and I only have the two lines on my shoulder, which is a corporal, not even a sergeant. Now, uh, that was in the beginning. So let me explain to you my life in the special forces. I'll make it short. I joined the special forces with enough education, which at the time was the 12th grade, to go straight to the officers' course. So straight from nobody to be a lieutenant to start, then going up the ranks. I decided not to be an officer because I joined the special forces with 12th grade, so finishing high school, 12th grade, but I decided to join as a soldier, not as an officer. I had the education to go straight to the officer's course to be a boss, but I chose not to. I wanted to start from the bottom, to be in the trenches, even though there was no war, but to be with the soldiers and then take my corporal course, which is very hard. The corporal course is, at least back in the days, harder than the sergeant's course, but I took the corporal course. I started as a soldier. I chose to. Hmm? I have 12th grade when I joined the special forces. I could go straight to the officer's course. No, I went to soldier. Then I took the corporal's course. Then I went to sergeant's course, and on and on and on until I left. I left, and I left the special forces, and I thought at the time, I think this was like 1988, 89, so 36 years ago. It was my dream to stay with the special forces, the paratrooper special forces, forever. But I serve the cause. I don't serve the special forces. So eventually the cause told me time to leave and serve the cause for the rest of your life. I knew it was coming. So when you see those two lines here, that's the photo when I took after I took the corporal course. And then I became a sergeant. And within the sergeant, like there's 4 or 5 levels. First sergeant, second sergeant, da, 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 da. Then you go to the officers course. You don't jump from being a sergeant to officer. You have to take a course, and it's a hard one. But that was too late for me. I had to leave to serve the cause. And here I am talking to you, serving the cause and not serving the special forces. But this is for you to understand what those military things mean. Okay? If it was for me, I would have stayed there all my life. It was a good family. I loved it. I didn't love everything I did, but it was a family to me. So now you know. I have other photos with the more lens. I never went up to officer, only sergeant, but I could if I had stayed there. But I don't serve myself, and I don't serve the special forces. I don't serve an army. I don't serve a country. I serve the cause. Stay safe.